Welcome, everybody, to the starting lineup. I'm Kip Keefer from the fabulous Circa Hotel and Resort Casino in Las Vegas, downtown near Fremont Street, where it all began here in Sin City. A few miles from the Strip, but still lots of action in this part of town, especially if you're a sports fan, because this is the mecca for sports enthusiasts, sports bettors, anybody who loves big-time excitement of all the great sports options we have in the country. Now, I've got to tell you that you may be confused now watching the video and seeing our opening shot venue of a fantastic feature here at Circa. It is actually called Stadium Swim. It's a variety of swimming pools, as you can see in the background, with gigantic drive-in theater-sized screens to watch whatever current sporting event is going on. And I wanted to bring you this glimpse of one of the most unique features that any sports fan can ever experience. It's great to be wallowing in the water at 100-plus degree temperatures and watching all the latest sports right in front of you. If you're confused on the timing here, you're probably seeing my mouth moving and the words not lining up. Well, it's probably going to cost us our Academy Award nomination in technical categories. But there's one problem when you're producing shows when you're on the road and you don't bring a producer. We're here for the Bet Bash celebration. It is a giant convention of sports enthusiasts, sports media, sports bettors, regulators, all kinds of people involved in this burgeoning industry in our country of sports betting that's sweeping the nation. And a lot of regulatory questions, a lot of things to be determined going forward, some things to address. And great meetings and personalities here. Have had a blast of meeting a lot of different people. And we are going to bring you some of that, and Case Keefer and Tony Curry as well. I'm glad you're aboard. It is the starting lineup, and you're in it with me at Circa in Las Vegas. We'll be right back.
Step back into the groove and then into the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Check this out. It's all happening here.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino is the local place to win.
Good times right here.
Let the Birmingham Racecourse Casino bring the good times to you. The Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where the good times roll.
Where you could be a winner too. Yeah, boy.
Welcome to this week's Agent Confidential Buyout Island Index, the weekly look at which coaches are feeling the most pressure. After a week of SEC Media Days, there was movement on this week's index. At number 5, making his debut, Lincoln Riley, USC. Expectations haven't changed, but patience is wearing thinner. At number 4, Shane Beamer, South Carolina. The Gamecocks underperformed last year, and another down year won't be tolerated. At number 3, Scott Satterfield at Cincinnati, up 5 spots. The move to the Big 12 raised expectations, and fans want to see progress. At number 2, Luke Fickell, Wisconsin, up 2 spots. Wisconsin made a major investment in Fickell, and now the expectation is to win. And remaining at number 1, Mike Norvell, Florida State. The expectations around the Seminoles haven't changed, so neither has his spot atop the index. And that's this week's Agent Confidential Buyout Island Index. I'm Mike Shawdry. I'll see you next week.
Welcome back to the starting lineup, everybody. Kip Keefer here, and I'm downtown. You never know where I'm going to wind up, but I'm thrilled to be downtown because I have a very honored and distinguished guest to introduce to you. You saw him some during football season last year, coming to some of our weekly gatherings to talk about all the big games. But today we're talking about something far more interesting because the new chairman of the Birmingham Racing Commission, Yancey Williams, is also a gentleman building owner here downtown. And Yancey, your place here is phenomenal.
Thank you, sir, very much. Thank you very much.
and we wanted to kind of show it off a little bit. We'll show you some footage here as we go of what he's constructing here. But you've got a perfect place for events. And if people are looking for kind of a middle-sized kind of gathering space, 60, 70 people, this is ideal, centrally located downtown. Tell us about how you came into the building ownership business and what's your plans for this place.
Thank you very much. We are right across the street from Bistro 218. We are 217 20th Street North, downtown Birmingham. And the venue is going to be Blues and Whiskey. Once a month, twice a month, we're going to have live music. We're going to sell libations here, and you can bring your own food in. So the space will hold about 75 people or less, and a nice, quaint location. Just a throwback location that we're trying to invite citizens of Birmingham to come out and enjoy.
Sounds like a great place for rehearsal dinners, things like that, for weddings, celebrations for graduations, things of that nature. I mean, you've got a perfect situation here.
We do. And again, we're not trying to, we're going to allow people to bring the food in. We're just going to have beer, alcohol, and other beverages that people might want to partake of. And yeah, we're right here on the sidewalk, right here on 20th Street, well lit, well protected. The mayor is doing a great job, city council is doing a great job, and CAPS will provide services to and from the cars. So yes, we're great to be here. I'm glad to be here also.
Recently, I was honored to be invited to the A.G. Gaston event that was held out at Ross Bridge. You were a speaker that night. Tell everybody who may be not familiar with that, I want to give them a plug because I was so impressed with the work they do. Talk about A.G. Gaston a little bit.
Yes, I am a product of the A.G. Gaston Boys and Girls Club, and Dr. Gaston started that for inner city youth in the city of Birmingham, and I was glad to be a participant on that forum that they had about 2-3 months ago. And we're just providing a safe place for kids to come and learn and grow and share ideas, just a safe environment. It was very, very profound for me to go down there and Mr. Andre Washington, Mr. Stinson, Mr. Bobby Minard, several men that showed me how to become a man and showed me the way and disciplined me when I got out of line, but loved me and encouraged me when I was doing the right thing.
Donovan McNabb, the Super Bowl winning quarterback from the Eagles, was the special guest speaker that night.
Jalen Hurts.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem.
I got my Eagles quarterbacks messed up.
That's right.
Sorry about that. Jalen Hurts from Alabama.
That's right.
Donovan McNabb from Syracuse.
That's
What was I thinking?
No problem. He was a great speaker. The mayor and him did a fireside chat. It was awesome. It was well attended. It was just an awesome occasion to see people of his magnitude giving back to the youth and citizens of Birmingham. That was awesome.
Absolutely. All right, final thought here. I'm so excited to announce Thursday night, August 27th, right here, we are going to have the Football Fun Fest, Kip Keefer Sports 2026 College Football Kickoff Reception. It is going to be great. Look for details on that. And we'll be following that up about 2 weeks later at the brand new sports bar at the Birmingham Racing Casino, where we're going to have a permanent broadcast location. Yancey, we are so excited that that event is going to be held right here in your location on August 27th.
I'm glad you guys have chose this location. We're willing to partner with you moving forward. Awesome. Citizens of Birmingham, please come out and support this auspicious occasion. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Kip Keefer with Yancey Williams downtown. We will be right back with more on the starting lineup.
All right, welcome back to the starting lineup here on the Birmingham Racecourse Casino starting lineup, ABC 3340. I want to thank Kip Keefer for allowing me to have a couple days to come up. I did not realize that I had this week to come down to the beach, so I'm coming down here to the coast. And for people who have lived in the Alabama area all your life, you realize you're 4 hours away from this incredible fantasy land of beachdom. It's unbelievable. We have the most beautiful beaches anywhere in the world, so don't take that for granted. We'll have more on that in just a second. I did want to mention the preseason top 25 came out this past week. And for the seventh consecutive year, we have 7 teams that are new in the preseason poll this year that we didn't have last year. We got USC, BYU, Washington, Utah, Iowa, Houston, and Missouri, the 7 teams. Last year was Arizona State, Illinois, South Carolina, Florida, Kansas State, Iowa State, and Boise State. The year before, 7 different teams again. So you can pretty much count on next year in the 2027 preseason poll, the early poll, that will have 7 teams that weren't in this year's preseason poll. Go figure. And of course, there was a lot of busts last year, including those Clemson Tigers, who were preseason number 4 last year and didn't show up anywhere this year. They're sitting at number 23. And the Alabama Crimson Tide got some work to do. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 different SEC teams actually in front of Alabama as they rank number 11. So best of luck to all the great teams are going to be out there this year. And, of course, we're only 3 weeks away from college football. I cannot wait because we do this show on ABC 3340, the Birmingham Race Course and Casino, and it butts right up against that game at 11 o'clock. It's the SEC game of the week. You're talking like Georgia-Clemson games. We're talking Alabama-Auburn games. We're talking Texas-Oklahoma games. It's going to be awesome. So make sure you check us out and watch us first before you watch the game at 11 o'clock here on ABC 3340. I've been coming down to the beach now for over 30 years. The last time I was down here, my kids were 18, 16, and 11. My daughter was the 11-year-old, and there was a sense of innocence in an 18, 16, and 11-year-old. Now they're 21, 19, and 14, and the innocence is gone. My 21-year-old son is drinking, which is bizarre. If you're a person that's never had anyone outside your wife or your girlfriend who drinks, and all of a sudden your kids are drinking around you, it's just weird. My 19-year-old is just like come into his own and doesn't want to have anything to do with anybody. He just wants to go out and meet people. He's super cool. And then my 14-year-old daughter, who looks like her mother and acts like her father. She is the most awesome daughter a father could have. But I'm telling you right now, if another boy looks at my daughter, I'm going to kill somebody, man. I mean, what is going on? I mean, I used to be the one up here when I was in my 40s, maybe my 50s. I'd be hanging on the balcony and I had the binoculars. I was that person trying not to turn into your parents' progressive man, you know, with the binoculars. And I'm looking at people on the oh, I'm looking for a seagull or a sea turtle. I was looking for women in bikinis is what I was looking for. Now I take the binoculars off and I'm looking at dudes looking at my family and my 14-year-old daughter. So if you're coming down to the beach and you see bone fragments and you see the Curry family, you better stay away from my daughter, man. I'm going to tell you what, I've never felt the kind of anger I've had for these young boys down. I'm sure they're fine. They're down here with church groups. Looking at my daughter, it's about ready to drive me absolutely crazy. If you want to take it back about 30 years, I would invite you to come to Brookwood City Fest later on tonight on the Master of Ceremonies, Brookwood City Fest, the wonderful thing. Joe Barger, who's the mayor, hired me to come out there 2 or 3 times before. We've got Little Texas tonight, man. My love, kick a little. God bless Texas. They had a string of great hits in the 90s and 2000s. They're playing live tonight at Brookwood Fest, 5 o'clock. Just put in your phone, Brookwood Drive, and it's right downtown. And, of course, you will find Brookwood Fest with Little Texas playing all their huge hits later on tonight. I can't wait to get on stage and throw down a big-time party with Joe Barger and his crew there from Brookwood Fest. And kudos, those fine folks doing a wonderful job. Check out Brookwood Fest later on tonight, 5 o'clock. And until then, this is starting lineup here. Birmingham Race Course and Casino. Have a great week. 3 weeks of college football coming up.
Welcome back to Las Vegas, everybody, here on the starting lineup. And I've got Mr. Vegas on my side here. He is the sports editor for the Las Vegas Sun, sports bettor extraordinary. You'll be hearing from him shortly with this week's Vegas Heaters. But, Case, I want to get into analysis because we've had a lot of round-the-block discussions about all the teams that everybody's not really sure what they're going to have. There's a lot of teams that kind of seemingly can go one way or the other. Is there any tried and true method that you use at this time of year with all new rosters and turnover like we've never seen before? What's your formula to try to decide who might be legitimate?
It's so hard, and it only gets harder with these big roster turnovers. I guess you got to use a lot of your intuition. You just got to look into it. I do still think the the best returning production numbers you can find out there. And I know that kind of the gold standard is Bill Connolly, who's now at ESPN. It's been a thing he's had to evolve time and time again, but I think they do a good job now of being able to get the returning production not only for a team, but how you incorporate it from other places. So look a little bit of that. And a big thing is just the talent indexes of these teams. I know recruiting rankings still, even this day and age, are polarizing, but the bottom line is they are extremely accurate nowadays. You can get a pretty good feel of the talent level of teams just by looking at things like that, but it isn't an exact science. You got to kind of put all those things together and kind of make some determinations based on that.
You know, my formula is, and you're so numbers based, and I applaud your approach. I have to take kind of a different path and I really emphasize schedule, look at who they play and where they play. And I also put a lot of stock, and I'm interested to hear your reaction to this one. I put a lot of stock in returning quarterbacks as opposed to trying somebody unproven.
Especially for this year. I've kind of gone back and forth. It kind of depends on a year. Certainly you want to have the returning, you want to have the big proven quarterback, but you look at, I don't know, the last 10 national champions or so, there's probably been like 3 or 4 of them that just have a quarterback that comes out of nowhere and is amazing. It's really hard to pinpoint who that is, but I think that's why you can't just be too married to a returning quarterback. That being said, however, this year, I feel like I am a little higher on the teams with quarterbacks. I've just talked to, some people in NFL draft scouting circles. All the talk is that this is a golden age of quarterbacks, that this is the year that if you're a quarterback, this is why I think it shocked a lot of people that Dante Moore from Oregon didn't come out when he was probably going to be the number 2 pick.
Oh, yeah.
Because now he's competing with all these guys. It just seems like all the contenders do have that quarterback in place. So even though I go back and forth, quarterback obviously the most important position this year, I think it is. It's even extra important. I just have a tough time seeing a team winning the national championship this year without that top level guy.
Let's talk about the SEC. I just came from SEC Media Days. The media, which I was quite delighted to be considered in this particular venture. We've cast our ballot for the SEC's all SEC team and the order of finish. And I was kind of surprised when I get your reaction. Georgia was a runaway winner over Texas, which I didn't realize. I expected that vote to be a lot closer. But then in the number 3 spot, the media at SEC Media Days has Ole Miss. And I'm just not completely sold on this team. Trinidad Chambliss and the great returning running back Lacey, but it takes more than just a quarterback and a running back to be a great team.
Yeah, I know you know we're on the same page with this. It is tough with those rankings. I never really know what to do, even when I voted in them, because for me, the rankings that I'm going to use to bet off of, even though I think those are the true rankings of teams, I don't necessarily think those should be the preseason rankings. I think you do have to seed to kind of what you saw. And of course, we saw Ole Miss have that great run to the semifinals. So I don't really have a problem with them being number 3 coming into the year. Now, do I think they'll end up being the 3rd best team? Absolutely not. I think I might have even talked about it last week on the show. They're one of my unders. I am not high on Ole Miss. I'm like you. I do love Chambliss and Lacey, but this is a whole rebuilding offense. Now, not only do they lose Kiffin, they lose the OC, Charlie Weiss Jr., of course, now following him there. And I know they looked great still in the playoff despite without Kiffin, but how often do we see the teams have this coaching jump where the new guy comes in, you're kind of motivated, you go out there, and it happens time and time again. It doesn't make sense to a numbers guy like me where you have that new coach jump, but it's not really a new coach jump now anymore going into the season. I don't like the defense. I don't even like some of the pieces around them. I wonder if Chambliss will hold up. So I think Ole Miss, I'm fine with being number 3 right now, but if I were a betting man, which I am, I would not have them being the number 3 team at the end of the season.
Then you had the writers had Texas A&M 4th. I know you're not thrilled with them, but this is what I really am interested in. With all the hype and all the money spent and all of the drama, I was shocked that they only ranked LSU number 5.
Yeah, I think maybe part of it, and I can't speak for all of them, I don't know what they're thinking of, but my big holdup with LSU, if there's one piece of injury information I could have maybe across the whole country, I just really want to know the status of Sam Levitt's foot. I think if he's really 100% ready to go, I think LSU could be a playoff team right away. But he was so special at Arizona State. I think a lot of it was his mobility. You look at the usual timeline for the surgery he had, it usually is longer than September until you're back up 100%. They don't have any breaks early on the schedule. So no. I don't really know what to do with LSU. I think a lot hinges on Levitt's foot. It is interesting that maybe not buying into the hype. We're certainly feeling some hype for the Tigers nationally.
A lot of new faces in new places, coaches coming in. You've got Golish and Will Stein, who both impressed me at SEC Media Days. Also Silverfield and Summerall. Who's your favorite in that quadruple?
Ooh, Ooh, I'd probably say Summerall, just straight for a coach. I do think I wouldn't be surprised if Auburn has the best year of the whole right now with everything coming in with Golish. But I love what Summerall's done every stop of the way and right away. He's always gotten results immediately. I like what he's done in Florida. I don't know. I'm on the Florida over this year. Granted, I was on the Florida over last year and that didn't work out so well. But it seems like he kept the right guys too. He must be a really good salesman because they don't have a huge roster turnover. The guys you'd want to keep from that team, he got them. And I just love the OC hire, obviously, with Buster Faulkner. I think it's going to pay dividends. And I'm not a huge Philo guy, but hey, if Faulkner saw enough out of him to say he's our guy, they could have gone and got someone else. They went with him. So I'll take a leap of faith with him. I'm really high on Summerall, and I think that was a good hire.
Yeah, I'm still not really comfortable with the trade for unproven Philo for DJ Lagway, who I am convinced was never healthy last year. We were talking about him as Heisman candidate last year. And now, if you talk to Florida fans, I'm shocked. They say, well, we have to just admit he was a failure at Florida, which I think is awful harsh.
Yeah, it's tough. We'll see what becomes of him at Baylor this year. I was on the Lagway Heisman train. I still think he has an immense amount of talent. I certainly was higher on him going into last year than Philo this year. But again, the only reason I like Philo is I just trust this coaching staff, and they saw something in him to make him their guy.
All right, pretender or contender to wrap this up. Tennessee, Oklahoma, everybody seems to have a different opinion. Is either of those a legitimate contending team this year?
Both of these in my column were guesses. I think I ended up going over on both of them. I could see the path to both. I have a tough time thinking Oklahoma's defense is going to be at the level it was last year. We just usually don't see defenses that high again, so I'm kind of worried there. Maybe Mateer can pick them up. Tennessee, I don't know what your takeaways were, but from what I've heard from Heupel, it seems like he's confident, and their defense was so bad last year. I feel like there's no way it can't be a little bit better. I think everyone's sleeping on Tennessee. I think they're going to be really tough again.
And they've brought Jim Knowles in, who got paid $1 gazillion at Penn State, and that didn't really work out. So
offense was a bigger problem than defense, though. A little bit in his
his
defense. Not that it was great, but offense was a bigger problem for them last year than defense.
So the SEC season wide open. It's going to be great to watch, and it's just a couple of weeks away. Case, thanks for taking a look at the SEC with me.
Yep, good talking to you.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where a spin could turn dreams into reality. Meet Sammy F., who just won over $70,000. And Orlando P. hitting the jackpot with a whopping $100,000. Feel the thrill of winning and join the dance of champions.
Woo! I'm a winner! I'm a winner! Woo! I'm a winner! I'm a winner! Woo! And you can be a winner too!
Your chance to be the next big winner is here at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Hey, it's Case Keefer back again for another edition of the Vegas Heaters as part of the starting lineup. No, we already chatted earlier on the show, talked about the SEC for I think the third or fourth time since I have started talking about football this season. So I thought let's jump to another conference in my conference win totals series that we're doing on LasVegasSun.com. This week was the Big Ten's turn. I know you probably haven't got a ton of Big Ten talk, so I thought, why not talk the Big Ten? 2 overs, 2 unders. Let's get after it. You know I always am advocating for the betting of unders, so let's start with the unders. We're going to start with alphabetically the first team in the conference. Illinois, give me under 7.5. A little bit chalky, right around minus 150 now, but Illinois, you look at them, they are on an absolute heater. I believe they've won 13 straight one-score games or something like that. Maybe it was 13 straight decided by 7 or less. That's just something that doesn't happen much. I think some regression is going to come back. They lose their quarterback, Luke Altmaier, who I think was a big part of that magic in close games. I know a lot of praise goes to Brett Bielema, who didn't really pan out at Arkansas, but has that old school mentality, that ground and pound, smash mouth style that I think does engender itself to winning some close games, but I just don't think you can keep up with that level of success, especially with a big roster turnover. They are going to be a lot younger this year. Like I said, a new quarterback in Kattenhauser, who was very good. I think he can maintain that, but I just don't think defensively they are going to be the same with Bobby Hauck coming in as coordinator. I like Illinois under 7.5. For the next under, let's go to a team I was on big time last year on the show, if you remember, and honestly, I think there's a perception they didn't have a good season, but they smashed through their win total. That would be the USC Trojans. Speaking of those close Illinois wins, USC probably would have been on the playoff if not for that collapse against Illinois or the no-show in Champaign last year. They were 7.5 over under last year and flew over. I think went 9-3. Just had a great offense with Jaden Maeva, the local Las Vegas kid from Liberty High, my school zone. I really do think highly of Maeva. However, I think it's going to be very hard to have a senior season as good as his junior season. He lost his top 8 receivers. And it's not like these receivers were nothing. These are NFL guys, including Mekhi Lemon, who went in the first round, Jacoby Lane, who has a chance to make a difference as a rookie. I always look at these quarterbacks everyone's so high on. If they lose that big of a chunk of their pass catchers, I tend to go under the next year. Under 8.5, right around minus 110, you can get as low in Vegas. I think that is probably a good bet on USC. I'm also worried about their defense. Their defense had finally turned around, had gotten good under D'Anton Lynn. What does D'Anton Lynn do? He bails. He goes to join Matt Campbell's staff at Penn State. So they bring in Gary Patterson, who Gary Patterson's last few coaching showings just seemed like the sport had passed him by. Could prove me wrong, but I like under 8.5 with USC. Let's talk about the teams everyone wants to, because one of my overs is on one of those golden teams in the Big Ten. I honestly am just kind of thinking it is Oregon's year. You can get Oregon over 10.5 at plus 120. Now, I know that doesn't leave much margin for error. If they lose 2 games, you are done. But when has this team lost 2 games? They'll go back the last 3 years. Oregon only losses have come to teams that have played in the national championship game. They are one of 2 teams in this conference, along with Ohio State, that I think you go position group by position group, and you don't see a single weakness. I just love this roster. I think it's even better than last year's roster. Talk about not having a receiving core with USC. I know Oregon did lose some guy, including Malik Benson, who was with the Raiders, but they get back Evan Stewart. They have DeCorian Moore, who I think flashed big as a freshman. I just think they have so many weapons. I think this defense is going to be great. Does concern me a little bit that they lost both coordinators, including, of course, Kentucky coach Will Stein at Tupui, who went to Cal. But I love that they hired from within, just promoted guys. They're going to keep the same schemes, same terminology. I think that's going to help from seeing the dip. I honestly would probably bet Oregon to win the conference as well. I haven't yet, but you can find them as high as at about 3-1. I think the best price in Vegas was plus 285. I do think Ohio State on paper is slightly better. However, Ohio State's schedule is extremely tough. Out of the top 6 teams beyond them, by any power ratings you go by in the Big Ten, Ohio State plays 5 of them. Now, I do think Oregon plays 4 of them. However, a lot of them at home. I believe they get Michigan at home. They get Washington at home. They'll be big favorites in those 2 games. At Ohio State, that's tough, but I really would be surprised if Oregon doesn't go at least 11-1.
Well, we're winding it up from a great week in Las Vegas, attending the Bet Bash Conference here at the fabulous Circa Resort. Showed you a few glimpses of this venue. Again, if you're a sports-inclined individual, like sports betting or just the excitement of watching big-time events in a perfect venue, this is the place to go in downtown Las Vegas. The Magical Mystery Tour continues. For Kip Keefer and the starting lineup, next week we will be coming to you from Saratoga Springs, New York. So jetting back across the country, it's the summer meetings for the Racing Commissioners International Board of Directors, tying directly into this particular gathering where we're talking about the future of regulation of American sports, including casino gaming and horse racing, along with now the new kid on the block, sports betting. A lot of big decisions being made, and I am proud to be part of that decision-making group. And if I'm involved, you're involved, because you are always in the starting lineup. So Saratoga, historic Saratoga racetrack, and big decisions to be made next week as we get closer and closer to football season. It's kicking off in just a couple of weeks. Hope you enjoyed the great content today with Case Keefer as we preview the SEC. We are going to roll up our sleeves and really get hardcore in giving you the best behind-the-scenes football coverage possible all season long here on the starting lineup. And don't forget our great radio shows on WJOX 94.5, Game Time, Saturday mornings 8 to 10, getting you ready for the football Saturday. And then for season number 10, the morning after, Jocks 94.5, 9 to 11 a.m. every Sunday, your first chance to react to everything you see on the field of all the great SEC venues on Saturdays. That's it from Vegas. We will see you next week from New York. Thanks to everybody for putting this show together. It's kind of a big challenge when we're on the road, but we like to get it done for you. Have a great week, everybody. We'll speak to you from upstate New York. Next week, I'm Kip Keefer. Later on.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino starting lineup. Kip Keefer, Tony Curry, The Legend, and Case Keefer bring it every week.
The coaches don't like what's going on. Fella, wow. Congratulations.
Weather is of universal appeal. It affects you and everybody watching.
Because you're real, Legend. You're authentic. You lived it.
From 10:30 to 11 on ABC 3340 every Saturday morning.